Alrighty, time to change my background filter, I guess. We'll just leave it like that. That's fine. Welcome back to another stream. I'm going to be re-recording some of my old Revit tips today and show that process and just stream it while I'm doing it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Here we go. Let's see if I can get. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see here. If I can remember how to stream. Well, that's already a fail, isn't it? Oh, that's right. I gotta fix a few things because of the new OBS update. I guess I should check these things before I go live. Let's see. Let's go to studio mode. Then production by stream, scenes, window, region. Window, region, display, capture, properties, method, monitor, okie dokie. So back to go. I think that'll do it. Hey, there's some Revit. All right, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to be re-recording today. I'm thinking about just going through the list, starting from oldest to newest. And the first tip that I ever recorded was, let's see if I can find it here. This guy right here. So basically, back in 2008, it was a big issue to want to edit a linked model. You had to unload it, open it, do the work, reload it, and it was a big pain in the butt round trip. So I had this little tip. I don't know if it's still applicable. We're going to see. So I'm actually going to, I'm probably going to do these videos as a voiceover, but we'll see. I used to just record them as a one-shot, but yeah, I'll probably just record the workflow and then piece it together, edit it together here. So let's link in. Let's see here, insert Revit. And let's just bring in, doesn't matter what it is. Maybe it should be a project that actually has a Revit file. So here, Scoggins got a Revit file. So I'll bring that in. And I'm pretty sure that if I want to edit this, it's going to tell me open and unload. So I don't want to have to open and unload. So what I want to be able to do is edit it and then bring it back in. And what I actually don't want to do is edit a live project. So we're going to remove that link. And let's see if I can just get, let's just save this one. I'm going to save this under, let's see here. Under here, production drive, Nextcloud. I don't necessarily want to do it there. Let's see. Creative things. Let's Revit TotD Redux. And we're just going to call this sample for linking. All right. And let's close that. That's the project I'm working on. Let's just make a new project from scratch. And we'll think through the script here as I'm doing it. Here, I'll just read the other ones while I'm doing this. So, ever found yourself working on a model? The model's linked in, and you need to make some modifications to the linked model. You go to open the linked model, and you get that annoying message that tells you the model is open already, and it will be unloaded from the other model if you continue. Yep, I've seen that. This is the point at which new Revit users mumble under their breath, this wouldn't be a problem if we were using AutoCAD. Fear not. Here's a simple tip that should ease the burden of making quick changes to linked models. Ready? You sure you won't be mad when you see the simplicity of this little tip? Okay, here goes. Open another instance of Revit. Load the Revit model that you want to make the change to. Wait, and there you go. You now have both models open at the same time without unloading one model from the other in order to work on it. Now, to update changes, you simply need to save the model and reload the model through the Manage Links tool. Happy Reviteering. So that's kind of what I'm going to go through here real quick. So the dialog that I'm referring to here is that if you try to open this model, so if I go to just open and then try to open this, the model is linking into one or more opening it will current session will unload it as a link. And if I hit yes, it's going to unload it from this model. It's like it'll open it, right? But it's unloaded here now. It's gone, right? So the idea here, if I come back and we just reload that model, is that if I, come down here and right click on Revit on the taskbar and I open another instance of Revit here, and wait for it to open, and wait. Back when I was doing a lot of linked model stuff, I would actually just constantly have two instances of Revit running at the same time. Like there were no days where I just had one instance of Revit running. I always had two instances of Revit running. But I don't use linked models much anymore. Doing residential stuff, there's not a whole lot of coordinating with structural or MEP in residential in terms of getting Revit models from other disciplines. So I typically don't have to do that. Okay, so here we go. If I just open that, and so just to show you here, I'm going to split these side by side. Yeah, there we go. So this is the actual model. This is the new project, and you can see they're both like that. So if I want to keep this open, and let's say I'm just going to modify this by changing that like that, I can actually save this model here. So I just saved it, and then I can just reload this model. Revit links, right click, reload, and there it is. I've edited that model without having to unload it from this. So that means that all my dimensions stay right where they're at. I don't have to worry about it. Clearly, this dimension is going to change if I change it back. So the danger here is that if I try to open this and unload it, all those dimensions go away, right? So that is a danger when you unload models. You don't want to ever have to unload models. So, I mean, one thing here is that if I change this model, and a dimension is changed, and in fact, we'll do two things here. So I deleted some walls. Clearly, this dimension is going to go away because the wall is not there that it's referencing anymore. This dimension knows that it's referencing the unique ID of this object. This dimension will stay, but it's going to expand. So you'll see that here in a second. So here, I'll change that in two directions here. I'm going to save that. And so we've got, what, 27.6 and 33.6. So when I reload that model, you'll see that those dimensions change. The dimensions stay, they change, but you can see here I still get the error that that radial dimension can't be formed. So it's got to go away. And that's not a big deal because the form changed. I can't expect Revit to actually keep a radial dimension on something that's not there. So that's essentially what this is about. So what I'll probably do is I'll go and I'll piece together a quick video, and that'll be one of the first tips that I upload. So let's see here. If I go, what was I doing? There we go. Reload this. There we go. Now it's going to have that on there, right? And if I go and change it in 3D as well, do this. Just 10 feet up. Save that. Reload. Bam. Just like that. It's exactly what we're talking about. And it's everything. So like if I join these walls here, and then save that, they're going to be joined over here all of a sudden. And I didn't have to unload it from the model in order to do that. So it's pretty frustrating that the dialog box that they give us actually says that you have to unload it in order to edit that model. A little frustrating. So, okay, that's one tip re-recorded. Let's see what the next one is here. Wonder what David McNally's up to. If David McNally's watching, leave a comment, man. I'm glad this helped you back in 2008. Borked wall profiles. All right, what does this one say? I've noticed in a lot of projects I end up cleaning that people tend to misuse wall profiles. That what I end up running across most commonly is a wall that may have needed to be profiled at one point but is no longer profiled, or a wall that has had the profile sketch moved from the reference lines of the wall. Like everything else in Revit, profiles do require a bit of planning and should not just be the result of rushing into the edit profile tool because you need the wall to act differently. Some things to keep in mind when you need to edit the profile of a wall: when someone drags the wall ends, should the length change? Is this a fixed shape that is completely unconstrained from the original wall profile? Does the wall height need to be controllable from the wall property dialog? Does the wall need to join cleanly with other walls around it? Let's take one specific case as an example. I have a wall that is not joining properly where a profile sketch has been applied to a wall. Obviously, this won't work. An exterior wall. Let's fix it. Womp womp. This is why I'm re-recording these, because the old recordings, none of the images are there anymore, and all the videos were SWF files. So I'm going to re-record, upload to YouTube, put those on the channel. So. Hey, Nayef, how you doing? How do you deal with making and documenting a piece of cabinetry, for example, since you need to model in the family editor and then load it into a project to place it on a sheet and add dimensions? Yeah, so that's a tough one. You're talking about doing like shop drawings for cabinetry. So yeah, I can talk about that real quick. Let me see. Let's just use this as a project. How you doing, man? It's good to see you. All right, so I'm going to load just some basic cabinetry that I've got, and then we're going to document it and detail it and stuff like that. So this isn't actually, well, I guess it could be a tip that I use. This isn't really a quick tip because there's a lot involved, but I'll show you just kind of the process that I would go through real quick. Oh boy, I just realized my my Revit library is down because my server crash that happened over the holidays. So I get to go find a project that has some cabinetry in it. Let's go open. I know that this one that I'm working on has some cabinetry in it. All right, let's ignore that. And then I'm just going to go grab some of this cabinetry that I've got. So typically in residential, a lot of the contractors that I am working with, they end up using off-the-shelf cabinetry or cabinetry that's manufactured by a manufacturer. It's already ready. Most of it's not custom. So a lot of this stuff I don't have to document typically. I'm going to grab just one wall unit as well. And let's drop these in here. All right. I'll leave that open just in case. So here's some cabinetry here. I want to move it along a wall, and then I'm going to create a couple of sections for it that will help me detail it. Turn thin lines on real quick so that I can kind of make sure that things are snapping to the right place. And if at any point it looks like I'm not quite capturing what you're trying to do, let me know and I'll pivot and we'll make sure that we're on the right page here. Actually, I think I'm going to leave that right there. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first thing that what I would typically have happening in my drawings. This is gonna sound weird, but I'm making a floor. That's how I do my countertops, just because they're easier to form, especially when they're like an L shape or a custom shape. I know it gets away from using the categories correctly, but it really helps. I can just throw a sink that's floor hosted in there, and so like this sink is floor based. So if I drop that into a count and into a floor object, it'll actually cut a hole. And this is actually a specific floor type. So I'm going to copy the sink and the counter over just so that it's kind of a full thing here. No, let's finish that. Yeah. Yeah. So I've already designed the family. Oh, and maybe I'm not understanding. Are you talking about actually going in and you want to see how I actually design the family itself? Oh, did not mean to do that. Let's try that again. So this should be granite countertop now. So okay, so you can see here that, and we'll get there eventually. This will all probably go into. Do you really need to put it in a project to add dimensions? Last time I kept jumping between family. So okay, so I'm gonna also. I don't have access to that. Can I? Have I downloaded that? Let me see if maybe, just maybe, I've got that project that I can show you. Let's see here. Gibson. Creative Solutions. Gibson House. Okay, let me see if I can open this project. And I'll show you how I documented a family inside of a project. So the answer really is yes. You should have it in a project in order to document it, and that's because of the way that documentation and sheets work. Like you can't make a sheet inside of a family, so you can't make a sheet size or anything like that for your shop drawings. So I'll show you how I documented something else, but I'll continue with this cabinetry so that it kind of you'll be able to mesh the two together, and I'll show you kind of how I would deal with this. Why did this not copy? That was really weird. There we go. See if it'll let me open this project. Detach from central. The reason I'm not sure it'll open is because it's actually on a synchronized drive. Yes. Why not? Here's the question. Did I Oh, that's from Twitch. Like, why is this comment? I can't delete this comment. If I can comment. Ah, interesting. All right. Did I put the mailbox sheets on this project? There it is. Okay, so what I'm going to get around to eventually is this is actually a family. Okay, this mailbox family. And what I did is I made it so that I could document it properly in a project. So the answer, unfortunately, is like I know, like I wanted to do this inside the family editor, but the family editor is just for creating the geometry and getting it to work inside of a project. 017. Why can't I moderate my own chat? Okie dokie. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll get back to this in just a second, unless you just want me to jump into that. You just tell me if you want me to jump into that, and I'll jump into that. But for now, I'm going to keep going with this. So a couple things that I do when I'm documenting cabinetry is, wow, this view is ridiculously small. let's make this more like 1/4 inch here. I'm going to drop this sink in here too. All right, a couple things that I do is I've got a couple elevations. All right, and that elevation doesn't need to be that big. We'll just make it that big right there. And when I get dimensions for the size of the cabinetry, I always do that from an elevation. So all my dimensions are something like this. So that would be the dimensions for my cabinetry. And then for heights, I would do something like that. Or I would just give the height of the countertop, and then the cabinetry manufacturer would provide the, what the thickness of the counter is and what that dimension for the cabinetry height needs to be. And then, so for instance, if my wall heights, I needed like this, and then I would throw dimensions in like this. That doesn't seem right. That should be 3 feet. And this will be something like 1'6" or something like that. Maybe more like 2 feet. We'll pretend that that's aligned right there. All right, so it'll be something like that. Not. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if I needed to document the, like, how it's attached to the wall, the detail of how it's attached to the wall, I would actually create a detail with it in the project. And I would detail it right there. I'd set it to fine. I would change things to be shaded the way that they need to be shaded. And I'd probably bring in a few detail components that I would typically use. So some of them that I would probably use. Detail components. Wood and plastic, rough carpentry, wood framing. Definitely have some of these cut sections in here. So I'll probably bring in some 1x4s, 1x3s, 2x4s. I don't think I need any 2x6s. Let's see here. And then let's go 2x4. And then, I would show how those things are framed. So they'd put down like a 2x4 frame for the base. And if they were going to cleat it to the wall, I would show something like that. I could show the dimensions for the depth of it. Let's change this, the depth of this section here, so it's not the entire length of this. All right. So this is a section of just this cabinetry. And I can go in and say, that's what the toe kick is. The height of the cabinetry is this. And this will probably be like 1.5 or maybe 3/4 inch, something like that, in order to get your detail. And that's how I would dimension that. Come in and you can use text or you can use keynotes if you've got the materials set up to call out, what the different things are, how they're connected, all that stuff. All right, so that's like the quick and dirty rundown of how I would document that in a project. If this is something that's typical, like if you have typical cabinetry details, then I would probably just draft those. Use detail lines and draft them out, make a really nice detail, and then bring those in as a drafting view, a detail view into your project. So the way that I did this mailbox, and I did this because I was sending this off to different metal manufacturers to get the some prices on some of the stuff. What I ended up doing, let's see if I can find. mailbox. There it is. So you can see this is a family. And if I edit that family, it's modeled in a very peculiar manner. Each piece is its own thing, right? So like these plates come off, these numbers are individually modeled, these planks are individually modeled, these cleats, the embeds are individually modeled, the mailbox is individually modeled. And the reason that I did that was so that in this 3D view here, I could use the displacement tool, which is one of these guys here. I can't remember which one it was. Let's see here. If I click that, I can do create group, create similar. This one, displace elements. And then because I modeled those things separately, am I? Okay, so there we go. That's what I needed to do. So I'm going to displace that, and then I can move it up, and then I can select, just that number, or just that piece right there. We're going to displace that. Let's see. There's something I'm not doing right here. There we go. There's that one. I can displace just that, right? So I can displace all these individual pieces. For some reason I can't get, I think because, let's reset this. Displace. Displace. So those are individual displacements. Right there. If I hit displace again, I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure what I did differently this time that's not letting me displace the individual pieces. But clearly I got it to work before. I'm going to finish this. And you can see that I've got the individual panels exploded, and I can document it accordingly. So if you plan to do something like this, where you have an exploded view, you can, let me just see, it's like that's a displacement, that's a displacement, each of these are a displacement. Yeah, I'm not sure. What if I can I remove the individual? So I can remove, okay, so that's what it was. I created individual displacement sets is what happened. So you can do something like that. That's probably a little beyond what you're looking to do, but the idea is that I still can come in and create this sheet, and this is just a 11 by 17. Is it 11 by 17? Yeah, 11 by 17, which is a ledger size, or I think it's a ledger size sheet that you can use and put the views on it. And you can't do this inside the family editor. You cannot create a sheet. So if I go into the family editor for that mailbox post, you can see it says that you can, that there's a sheet category in there, but if I go to view, it does not let me add a sheet like it does in a project. I can't even right click sheets and do new sheets like I can in a project. So here I can go to sheets, right click, new sheet, or go to view, new sheet, just like that. Now, if I wanted to, I could come into the family and create multiple views. Like I can have a front elevation view that is specifically for documentation, that maybe is cleaned up a little bit. It doesn't have all these reference planes or anything like that. And I can, hide these. I don't want to delete that parameter. I can hide some of these and I can start dimensioning stuff like that. But then you got to think about, am I going to have to do this for every different length of cabinetry that I've got? So you want to get it set up in the project and then document it in the project. That's really the best way to do it. Hopefully that gets you where you want to be on that. Let me know if it doesn't. I'll be happy to keep going over that. But I appreciate you stopping by. It's good seeing you. Let's see here. What's I doing? I'm gonna leave some of the stuff up. Are you mad because I'm not talking to you? Dog is down complaining about me talking to something other than her. Okay, where was I? What was the next thing I was doing? That's why I pulled it up here. Wall profiles, that's right. Okay. Da, 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 da. A wall that is not joining properly where a profile sketch has been applied to a wall. I wonder if I can find that image somewhere. Let's see. What is it called? Walljoin.png? Interesting. I have the image. It is not showing up. What about this one? Wall edges. Hmm. Hey, what's up, Fat32? What you doing? Hey, thanks for that, Naf. I hope that everything is going well with you. Yeah, you've been on my mind a lot lately, and I hope you're making it happen, man. So now I got to remember from 2008 what these images looked like. I know what this was about, um, but I gotta recall. Fat32, you still modeling cars? Are they doing something else? Obviously, this won't work on. Nice. Have you moved your workflow to Unreal yet? Okay, the first thing we note is that when we select the wall on top, it shows that the profile edge of the wall, the reference edge wall, do not match. While this does not necessarily mean that something is wrong, it was my first clue as to what the culprit was. This is the shape of the wall was in when I encountered it. Zero show the wall references versus zero show where the wall reference is versus where the top profile is. Install it, play with it a bit. New PC, nice, so possible. Hi Kai, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I should be working right now, but this was on my mind, and I feel like if I get something done on this, then at least progress will have happened. I'm also going to be streaming a little later on. I've got to do some hacking of a Pinewood Derby race manager, so I'm going to be streaming that as well. But that's not architecturally related, so I don't know how interesting it'll be or not. Hey, sweet. I want to pull that up here. Hold on a second. That's a nice model. So are you still you working in 3D Studio and rendering? What are you rendering with now? It looks nice, man. Diffon. Is that Is that okay as in Oklahoma? Yeah, 3DS and Corona, nice. Thanks for your tip on Revit. I have a general question. Is there a source on the internet where you can find free project plans with dimensions? Project plans with dimensions. From France, bonjour. My oldest is going to Paris in July to visit some family. So that'll be fun. So your English looks great. You don't need to apologize for that. I took 2 years of French in high school, and the only thing I remember is bonjour. Bonjour and le fromage. That's it. Sorry. So your English is much better than yes, omelette de fromage. Your English is much better than my French. So bear with me, and I will do the best that I can. A place on the internet where you can find free project plans with dimensions, etc. I mean, I think it depends on the type of project, right? So really, you might not know about this because it's whoa. Congress architectural plans. So the Library of Congress actually archives drawings from projects, famous projects. So there's actually a few Frank Lloyd Wright's projects in the archive where you can go and find plans and stuff like that. Let's see here. This is architectural drawing. Let's see if I can find a plan. Plan. Some of these look like they might. I don't want access to the original. I just want. Group of images. No, that's not what I'm wanting either. Dwelling. Let's just do architectural stuff. Review all. Floor plan. I guess maybe their servers were just getting overloaded. I don't know why you can't. Is it because I'm on Firefox? Why can't I download these? You used to be able to access these. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Anyway, so I don't know if it's a residential project. I mean, residential plans with dimensions are all over the place. I mean, there's like a million plan houses where you can find these things. There are sometimes what is it that so you can find public record documents sometimes. I want to say it was in Colorado airport. No, it was somewhere in Oklahoma. Airport public records plans. Da, 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 Sometimes you can find plans, just PDFs. And the problem is I can never remember what I'm searching for when I natural plans. But it's usually under like a municipal site. Let me see if do I still have that open somewhere? I feel like maybe I left that open. Let's see. Doesn't look like it at the moment. Oh well. Sometimes you can find them. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, there's plenty of, if you just like, what type of project? Hotel plans with dimensions. I mean, and you can scale them. So there's some bedrooms. It's just, you just go nuts. Go search for what you're looking for. Of course, the best method is to go through the design process and develop your own. But if you're just trying to practice with stuff, I can understand that. Um, what I used to learn Revit was some projects that I had already worked on. So some past projects that maybe I had done in AutoCAD or something like that, that I wanted to just put into Revit. I'm already familiar with the design. I'm familiar with the assemblies, so I can go through and do them that way. Private house plan. Yeah, I mean, man, there are uh, house plan with dimensions. And of course, I mean, it depends on what you need for permitting in your jurisdiction. I'm sure it's probably different where you are than Tulsa, Oklahoma, which up until recently you could literally permit a set of drawings that was on a napkin to have it built. But I mean, there are house plans all over the place that you can take and use for your own purposes. So hopefully that'll help. All right, so let's see here. So I know what this was about. This was saying that the images weren't there. So they're taught. This was about the broken wall profiles. Was about me coming in, and I'm just going to copy this out. Well, no, I'm not. And finding walls that were like this, where somebody had done something like this for the wall profile, right? So now, if you change the size of the wall, it doesn't do anything because that profile is completely detached from the wall itself. So the idea here was that I was giving some tips on how to fix it if it was broken. Okay, so when we edit the wall, we see that the issue is none of the sketch lines are locked to the reference lines of the original wall shape. And you can see that if you go into Edit Profile, you can select a line here. And if I move that, dang. If we hit Edit Profile now, so I didn't actually edit the profile there. Edit the profile. Okay, that's how I edited the profile, but it's not showing me the dotted lines like it was before. So it used to be that when you edit a wall profile, let's see is there a elevation view that I can look at this from? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you got to do it in elevation. So if I select this line right here, you can see it's locked to that top reference plane, right? Yeah, it is a reference plane. This one is not, but these others you can see they are. So if I go and change the length of this wall, this is not going to follow because it's not constrained. I could, if I wanted to, from that elevation view, I could actually dimension it and say that this line should always be, 10 feet from that wall. And actually, I'm not sure if that will work. I have to lock it, I think. So if I lock this, oh no, it doesn't like that. Let's see if I can use, oh, apparently you can't constrain them anymore. That was something you used to be able to do. What if I do this? Can't do that either. Ah. Okay, so you just can't constrain profiles and walls anymore. Pretty sure you used to be able to do that. What if I do this? What if I go and dimension these and lock them? And then dimension these and lock them. We'll lock that top one too. Sketch is over constrained. It does not like that. What if I do that? Sketch is over constrained. So you cannot parametrically control cut profiles anymore. That's a little disappointing. It used to be that you could dimension that to that reference plane. Oh well. So the point of this is that now none of these walls, like none of these lines correspond to the reference plane of the wall, right? Yeah, and Revit even tells you that. It says that changing the element's parameter does not actually do anything because none of the sketch elements are constrained. But you can actually go back and reconstrain those if you want. So if I reconstrain, let's say, let's do this right side here. If I do like that, now I can change the actual sketch like this, but I can also change that wall. And you can see that this one stays right where it's at, and the top as well. And you can see the bottom. Well, that's really inconvenient. So apparently, well, let me do that. It will let me do that. That is wild. Okay. Ah! I see. Well, let me do that. Nice. Okay, we're learning stuff about the new ways that Revit is working with stuff now. So I want to unlock this one. In fact, I probably just want to get rid of that. Let's see if it'll let us lock this to something like 12 feet. Let's lock that. Okay, so now if I change this, that stays right where it's at. It's not happy about it, but it does stay. Okay, and now I can control the top just like that. And I can reverse that as well. So I can align and lock to the bottom reference plane. Let's remove that constraint, that guy. And then this guy I want to unlock and move down. And let's lock this. Let's make this like 6 feet. Let's say we want it to be like a pony wall, like a 3-foot wall or something like that. So now when I change the top, it's going to complain because it's not controlling any geometry. But if I move the bottom up, like if it's a stepped floor, we can control it that way. And again, the right. But man, that is just so wild that that it does not, like I can't do the horizontal, I can only do the vertical. I feel like someone on the dev team fell asleep on that one. So that doesn't quite feel right. So anyway, going back to the purpose of this, the tip of the day that I'm trying to re-record here is that you can go and change that behavior by what it is. We want to retain the lock. So to start off, we need to copy the profile sketch lines. So we select the wall and go into the profile sketch. Edit profile. By selecting one of the lines, you can see that they are not locked. We did that, yep. To the reference plane on the right, which is the plane that indicates the side of the wall forming the join we are looking at. Go ahead and select all of the sketch lines. Favorite tool. Hover over a line and hit tab. Oh yes, using the tab button. Control C, select the lines, Control C. We need to remove the sketch from the wall now, but before you do that, you want to make sure that the constraints of the wall, you don't even have to do that anymore. So before you had to actually remove the profile in order for those constraints to work. I don't think you were able to align and lock them to the reference planes before. Once you have checked this, go ahead and select the wall again and remove the profile sketch by clicking Remove Profile in the options bar. Okay. So what would I want to call this tip if I did it? Would it be repairing wall profiles still? I'm not sure. I'm going to add a regional profile back. Select the wall one more time. So I'll just run through what I was doing here just to explain what it was. So let's say that we had a profile here, and somehow along the way, someone did that right there. So we would have this issue where someone would be trying to change the size of the wall. It'd probably be more likely that it'd be like this, right? And so someone tried to drag this wall, and the wall did not move where they expected it to move, right? So what you used to have to do is come in and select those profile lines. I'm just going to select those, and I'm going to hit Control C, and then I would reset the profile, and I would edit profile again, and then you can do paste aligned from clipboard, and you can either type in 0, or you can actually, if I go to the elevation itself, I can do paste aligned to selected levels, level 1, and it'll put those right back where they should be. Now, you would have to decide what you want to do with this line here. I don't know if it should do something like this or whatnot. That would be up to whoever's on the design of the project. You know, maybe align and lock that to that, and fix the rest of your sketch, because you can't do what I just did. Right? And now the wall constrains to its draggable constraints. So, and that's the way to get that back in there. Nice. That just absolutely blows my mind, the way that that constraint works. Okay, so but you don't have to do that anymore. I can just we can just do this. If that line's not there, I can either just do that and lock it, or I can align and lock that. Right? So I can do something like that, and then that will follow that constraint. By the way, you do that move anywhere else in any other geometry in Revit, and it'll complain about reversing that face. But apparently walls are special now. So what do I call this tip if it's not repairing the wall profiles anymore? Is it just advanced wall profile editing? Hey, puppy, I'm sorry. Profile fix.swf. I wonder if I can find that file. Profile fix. fix SWF. Then I have to find a way to open it. Local Flash player. Like, I'm not even sure that I have. Oh, can Irefan view open Flash files? No. Do I have? Oh, come on. What about VLC Media Player? Oh my goodness. It tried. An attempt was made. Look at that interface. 2000 Revit 2008, guys. Okay, so I'm not sure I want to spend too much time on that. Anyway, so what do I want to call this? And what is the lesson to be? What's the tip here? Is the tip that you can copy paste aligned profiles? That was kind of what it was with this, right? Remove profile. Now we can select the edit profile. Notice on these lines. Go ahead and Control V. Move the lines that are different from the original lines into place. I usually pick a common point to anchor from. In this case, bottom left. So I think there's two things that are good for this: is the paste aligned, and also copying things from one profile to another. I wonder if I can. I wonder if it'll let me. Like, can I copy from here? Maybe this is what the tip is. Nope. Can I do paste align from selected levels? Didn't really like that either. Okay, so paste align doesn't really work if it's on a different plane. I think the tip here is that, like, if this no longer works, like if you're trying to adjust a wall and the edge doesn't go with it, can I even, will that lock? Can I do that? You don't even have to edit the profile anymore. You used to have to edit the profile. But if I really wanted that to work, if I align and lock it, like, the behavior is going to be a little bit different now. Ooh, no, it's not. Yeah, now it's different. See, there's only one grab bar here. Interesting. I'm not sure what I just did. Okay. So, what do I want this to say? I don't want to get rid of that yet. Okay, so I think the message here is that if you have a wall with a profile and that you've done something to where you can't control the edge. The quick fix here is to just, from an elevation view, realign and lock the edge. And now that edge moves with it, and I can use trim again. I think that's the message there. It's like if I bring this back like this and use trim now, it's fine. I think that's what I'm looking for. Should we do one more? It's past lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. Let's see what the next one is. Double standards. I remember writing this one. I was really upset when I wrote this one. I've run across a lot of nasty and usually false remarks about the abilities and downfalls of Revit, and those of us that use Revit. Usually these remarks are made by AutoCAD diehards that can't or don't want to understand how to use Revit. What gets me is how they hold such a high level of double standards comparing both software. The best example of this literally happened 10 minutes ago. I remember exactly who prompted this. A coworker came up to me and asked me if the doors in Revit had frames. Knowing the full answer is a simple yes, I opted to ask why he wants to show the frames and why the openings that are provided in plan do not work. The response was a for instance. Let's say that you want to dimension the end of the frame for ADA compliance. The plan now shows that the wall terminates 1 foot from the face of the wall. The concern is that some contractor will take the wall out 1 foot from the face of the perpendicular wall before placing the door, as opposed to having the swing line start at 1 foot from the face of the wall. Reasonable explanation. However, I pointed out that the dimensions clearly show the swing line of the door as it exists from Revit. This is where the story really begins. He explained that in AutoCAD, he drew all the lines on all the doors in plan to show how the wall terminated into the door frame. Then explained that the reason that the door frames do not show in Revit is because people complain about putting too much information in a model, causing performance issues, and which isn't as big of a deal anymore. And then I asked him why it's okay for AutoCAD drawings to contain every little detail but not Revit drawings. He quickly defended the fact that he is the kind of person that wants to show as much information in drawings at all times, yada yada. And that was because earlier he did complain about why do I have to show all this detail in this drawing in Revit? I was able to explain to him that we can show door frames, but I would need to modify the door family to include that information. I understand why people have such a hard time. Okay, so this wasn't a tip. This was more of me venting. Such a hard time letting go of why they know or what they know to learn something that may help them out. Revit is not a threat to your profession. It's a tool meant to help increase productivity and remove the drawing from the equation to allow more time for design and even allow more time to design while producing drawings. I just made a design option for a bar setup that may be changing in the CDs. We're at 90%. That happened all the time. I didn't have to make a new file or set up more layers that may or may not get accidentally printed. Literally took 5 minutes. By the way, the real reason the door frames are not shown in plan is because the same door type may have multiple frame conditions throughout the project. This can be simply covered by having multiple frames, multiple shared frame families available in the door family for the user to choose from. Probably as an instance parameter would be best. I actually ended up doing this for this same company much later. Did they update DataSmith exporter for Revit 2023 to work with Unreal Engine 5.0? I don't know. I haven't tried recently. Let's see here, Unreal DataSmith exporters, exporter plugins, Revit exporter downloads for Unreal Engine 5.1. So it should work with Unreal 5.0. Oh, I always have that problem. I always bite myself in the butt by upgrading to Unreal, the latest Unreal, and then the exporter doesn't work for that version. It always kills me. So, but yes, it looks like they do have the updates to the plugin in there, so you can go check that out. I haven't tried it yet. I have not played with Unreal in quite some time. Okay, so anyway, that was just venting. I think that's going to be it for now. I got to step away. Yeah, 1 hour stream's not too bad. I'll be back later on. I'm going to do a little bit of work, but mostly I'm going to do some permit sets, and then we'll probably later this evening do some. My microphone. What's really bugging my camera out? Or is it my hair? The camera doesn't like my hair. Anyway, I'm going to do some hacking, some PHP hacking to try to get something to work for a Pinewood Derby live stream. So, anyway, I appreciate you all stopping by and taking a look at our work. That's going to be it for now, and we'll see you all later. Have a good one.